and killed it. Yeah, Elle, right there. Yeah, she's 15 years old, so we think she's got a long time in career. So she's very, very talented. I didn't bring any video, but I think y'all would agree. So this is Launch Music Lab, and we are all about Texas artists. So if Nashville is chasing Houston, a lot of people are chasing Texas. There's a lot going on here. I started Blues Fest also last year, and we are also looking for people to help us with that. We packed the place, and I think we're just really building. So we're trying to really build a platform here for artists, for sound engineers. I know there's some folks interested in live recording, live sound. Please come see me. We're building more and more of those. This is over at East River 9. Who's been to East River 9? And if you have not been, it's the best view in town, one of the best stages too. So I started a songwriter competition called Song Fest, Blues Fest, Houston Live, which this is one of my dreams. If you were here earlier, we were talking about vision and vision board and goals and crushing them, and I want to do a TV show called Houston Live, which I think would be one of the best ways to showcase the talent here. And I'm not talking about just on stage like ACL, I'm talking about behind the scenes, the stuff you don't know about. The 3 p.m. load-in or the 10 a.m. load-in with all the equipment and getting ready before the show and all that kind of stuff. So, and then we do a song camp. So if you are interested in songwriting, that's a great place to go and get teamed up with some real pros. And they really have, you can write a song by yourself, but until you team up with a pro and hear, the human brain wants to hear patterns, and that's how you get hits. Now, you can break rules, right? I talked a little bit about that earlier. You can always break rules, but generally, there is a pattern, there is a way of thinking to create hits that's always good to hear. And then the Bonfire Texas was my first festival in 2017, and that's where it all started. So when I think about a success formula, there's really 3 things that I look for. Whether it's, I said I sell fiberglass pipe because I'm a chief marketing officer for that company, but that's my contract job, so I do that fractional. But anytime I go and work with a company, a music, whatever, there's a need. So there's, a desire for that music. There's a need out there. And then there's a resource. You gotta have money. It's not a nonprofit. Well, you could be a nonprofit. But if you're not a nonprofit, you need to find the money, right? I learned that the hard way the first couple of years I did a festival. I dropped a lot of money learning the hard way. So you gotta make sure there's a resource. And then you have the right product. But for who? And so you really need to know. You could play for an empty room. Actually, you could play for a room with 2 people. But those 2 people could end up being a career difference maker for you. It happens all the time. You never know. So I guess I'll just say on that note, you bring your A game, whether it's 1 person, 2 people, or 1,000 people in the room. So God's a little reminder that there's something else besides us in this universe. That's what brought me into music. I think it heals people. I think it brings people together in a way. It's like a universal language. No matter who you are, where you are in the world, music can bring us together, and that's really why it drew me. Lots of really amazing music quotes. Not gonna. So someone asked me once, you need to break into your marketing black box. Like, what is it that you do? So I've been doing marketing, whether it be music, coffee, or telecom, or pipe, or music. I've been doing it for so long that it's kind of second nature for me. So I spent a little time thinking about my black box. So I listen first. I think a lot of us are ready to jump in and just make things happen. I hear that too. Got it? Okay. And we don't do the homework, we just jump in, we leap. But you gotta do a lot of listening. Go find who's in your industry that you're, that you admire. Go learn, go listen. Before you ever take action, go listen. One of my professors said 90% of doing anything is thinking about it. We think we're wasting our time thinking about it. Everything is immediate gratification. I love it and I hate it at the same time. We're reacting constantly to Facebook, to triggers, to phone calls, to whatever, but we never really slow down to think about what we're doing and plan. And I tell you what, if you can figure that out, that's going to be your secret sauce right there. So listen. And then I've always used this term, walk the halls. Doesn't mean you're literally walking the halls, but you're going to the venues that you admire. You go find a peer group with venue owners if that's what you want to do. Go hang out in the studio and volunteer. Lucky Run is one that I work with. If you ever want to go get a tour and meet those guys over there, go hang out with them. Listen, learn. Listen to the artists and what they're asking about. And then I think I showed one good example of good storytelling and how you're going to be able to set yourself apart. Again, if I can make fiberglass pipes sexy, you guys can do this, yeah. And then another trick that I use is I pre-sell ideas. I think we build things up like, oh, I have a meeting with this venue, I'm going to get this gig, it's going to be great, and you're going all in on one thing, one point in time. Well, what about, pre-selling the ideas? Hey, I'm thinking about meeting with you, and I'm thinking about, doing this, and you get some feedback, and they tell you, well, I don't know if you did it this way or whatever, and you just start pre-selling your ideas and ask questions, and you go ask them, do you know what I mean by that? Like, what's your big dream? What do you want to do next? And how could you, what's your next goal? How could you start pre-selling it right now in the room?
I want to sing the national anthem, like my short-term goal is to sing the national anthem.
So how could you pre-sell that idea?
I just go sing in front of the stadium. Sometimes I work at the Asheville Stadium, so I ran across a news anchor guy. I told him that I was singing the national anthem, and he believed me. And because I told him it was a joke, he actually did a segment on me during the playoff game. So, I kind of know how to sell myself. I just not as consistent since the COVID-19.
Yeah, that kind of made it. Great idea. That was a perfect example. Is there anybody else that had an idea, or how do you pre-sell yourself, or pre-sell your idea? Anybody over here? What's your goal? What's your big goal? You in the Houston shirt.
Oh, me? My goal in life?
Well, just say the next thing you want to do that you could go out and pre-sell. Like, how can we help you? I think finishing school is a great one. Great. Okay, that's perfect.
Maybe get into your university that's music-based. I want to be a singer, so I want to be able to have the opportunity all around me.
That's a great one. So putting the word out there, people can tell you, well, have you checked out this school and that school? So keep saying it to people, and you're going to come across someone that says, I know someone at this school that. So you get the idea. So technology is obviously your friend in the music business, whether it's AI or it's, home studio or how you market yourself, I think you guys, you're, what they call it, it's on the next slide, digital, it's your right arm technology, So you live and breathe it. It was not the case when I got started. Partnerships. I love partnerships. This is one of my favorite things. Because you could do it on your own. You could try to do it on your own. But who else is doing it that you can team up with and partner with? Is there a brand? Is there, is it Topo Chico because they really want to do this sound and you can team up with them? I love partnerships. So consider who could I partner with? What venue can I partner with? I don't know that we always think about it that way. We pitch them on the idea, but we don't think about who we can bring in to the story with this and partner. Of course, measure, adapt, and then I added this one because my husband, as I was walking out the door, said, "Be sure to tell him to be perseverant." So this is obviously true. It's so easy to give up. And I remember someone, they said, "You never know how close you are to the top. Like you're climbing a mountain, you're getting really tired, and you're really going to give up. But then here comes someone down the trail and they go, oh, you only got like 10 more steps. But if you've given up, you're almost there." So I would encourage you to keep going, because that is the test. You will all be tested. Right before your big break, you will be tested. It'll seem like all is lost, or you major setback, or whatever. So I would say keep going. And wait. This is called dramatic pause.
I have a question since you're trying to figure that out. So when you say you need help with these venues and stuff, how do we talk to you via what we just saw on your little...
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was there, Linktree. Oh, there you go. Yeah, send me a note. Yeah, I am busy. I need to say that. So don't be upset if I don't respond to you right away. So be really specific in your request, and then I have an assistant who can help me navigate all that. But I do have a couple of needs, specifically around our festivals. Okay, thank you. So this is a process I use. Again, I don't want to go too deep in this because I don't know whether you want to delve deep on marketing, but I think anything you're marketing is the case. There's always a catalyst. I don't know. For you, it might be that I want to be a world artist, and I just graduated, and now I'm ready. So that's your catalyst. And then your discovery is, okay, I'm going to go find out everything I need to know about being a world artist. And then I have to have a brand. Because as an artist, you are a business, you are a brand. So how do I put my brand together? How do I show up every time? How do I look? What's my look? What's my voice? What's my message? What's my theme? And then a vision session is where you bring people in to help you realize that. So you team up with someone like me, and I hear you out, and I say, well, what I heard you say was this. What about this? And that's where you can amplify what you're trying to do. Don't sit by yourself and try to brainstorm. It doesn't go well. So bring other people in. And then a brand plan. So this is, you're going to go out to the world. I'm going to go through this radio. I'm going to play this stage. I need to build my team and put a tour together. And all the things. This is what I do for anything that I market. And I put in that term brand realization because I think when you talk about brand, it's always from the inside out, in my opinion. You got to know who you are in order to convey that to the world. And if you weren't in the room earlier, what story are you telling yourself first before you start telling it to the world? There are some cool marketing tools. I mentioned it earlier. The marketing funnel. This is actually my marketing funnel. So you can see all the people on the left and how I'm trying to move them down the funnel down to sales. So I think you can still use this in music. How do I reach these fans? I mean, you're watching your Instagram following, you're watching your Facebook following, you're watching your, for me, LinkedIn is a great tool. Whatever's the TikTok, that's how you're tracking, right? And then you can see your conversion. Of all the people on TikTok, how many people actually clicked the link and went to my Spotify? These things are important. And what can I offer them to get them to go to my Spotify? Does that make sense? So make sure you have a clear understanding of your audience. I don't know, this seems like basic stuff, but how many people have their promo kit together? You're an artist. Do you have your photos together? Do you have your video ready to go? Do you have your promo sheet? Those are really important to have ready to go. If you want to go to a venue, they're going to want to see performance video. They're going to want to see your photos they can use in the promotion. It's going to make life a lot easier. Just have it ready to go, put it on your website. With an iPhone, it's pretty easy. You can do your own photos, your own video. I'm surprised how many really good artists don't have any of this. Even today, I had a guy that's on The Voice right now come through, and like, where's your pro? Where's your pro photo? So I think this is something we can all get better at. This is just technology. I thought it was interesting. AI is the one everybody's talking about, but obviously you can record it at home, all the streaming, virtual reality. I'm personally interested in the convergence of music and video and immersive experiences. There's a dome being created here in Houston where, so I'm working with them. So if that's interesting to you. So they've got a special way that they record so that you can have this dome immersive experience and have concerts there and experiences and be transported anywhere. They're landing their location right now. I have my favorite pick, so I've gotten involved to try to help drive that. So you've probably heard of the Sphere in Vegas. So this will be our version, and it'll be way cooler because it's here. So artists today that are really cutting through, these are some points that came about from a company called Luminate. Have you guys done a lot of research in this space? Does Luminate? So Luminate, go check them out. They do research on music. What are the trends? What are the technologies? It was Nielsen data first, and then it merged with a couple other companies. They're at all the big music conferences talking about, they're the smart ones in the room talking about what's next, and what are the trends. So I pulled some of this out. So some of the trends, pioneers in genre fusion. I mean, how many new sounds have come out in the last couple of years that we haven't heard before? And this is the time to do it in, because in the 90s we created our own rap sound that was heard around the world, right? So pretty exciting. So I think Houston is well positioned for this. Artists utilize technology, no surprises there. And talents that showcase their music through unique experiences. I don't know, maybe it's the edge of the Grand Canyon, maybe you're falling, you're skydiving out of a plane, maybe you team up with Red Bull and you do something at 35,000 feet. I guess Southwest Airlines has this Live at 35 concert series. Have you guys heard about that? Yeah. So go check that out too. They've just opened it back up. I guess they started a few years ago, and during the pandemic, that thing. Now they're doing it again. So and then artists, yeah. And then artists who have a social connection, a social cause. These are some of the names that came up in the Luminate report on hot artists. Many of these I haven't heard, but that's okay. So these are the ones that are trending right now, and they're all over the pop, dance, poetic lyrics, genre fusion, again, provoking themes, powerful storytelling, rich vocals. You start to see the themes of what really matters. Authentic storytelling. I think AI is going to fail here, right? We need humans to be able to tell that story. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it's good to research. So I would start with Luminate. Oh, whoa! That was pretty cool, though. I think you'd agree with me. It just sped through all my research slides. I love that. You can tell that's my least favorite part, but it's obviously smart. And let me, oh my goodness gracious. I just did it once, I swear.
I got you, Tracy, here.
Okay. Thank you.
Where are you at?
That was exciting. I was at kind of the fusion. Yeah, keep going. I was talking about research, and that's when it did that.
This one?
One more. Thank you. If I push this again, is it going to do it?
No.
Are you sure? Okay. Yeah. All right. So trends. So streaming is growing faster in the world versus the U.S. These are just some interesting facts. Again, go to Luminate. growth in key genres. I was actually surprised which genres were growing the fastest. Music discovery is key in soundtracks. So Barry Coffin, he's a music supervisor. If you want to get your music out there, I guess it's pretty obvious now with Yellowstone. I mean, Yellowstone has launched a lot of careers out of Texas now because they place their music within that soundtrack. So, you know, you don't have to just think about going to radio, right? You can go through soundtracks, and there's a lot of folks in Houston that can help you find that path. So, direct-to-consumer physical products. I love how everything comes back around, and I refuse to get rid of my CDs. I'm still holding on to them. I do. I have a library, and I'm setting up now. I just can't get rid of them because I like the artwork, and I like the physical products, in addition to the streaming. I like it all. And then the power of the female artist, which is timely since this is Women's History Month, but it's true. It's one of the trends. And Taylor Swift, thank you very much. So this is just a few more stats. So these were the fastest growing genres. So world music, and then Latin music, which probably isn't surprising to you. We're here in Houston, and some of the hottest bands are Latin bands. But country, I was really surprised. I love country, but I've been watching this genre for a while, and to see that it's one of the fastest growing really surprised me. So, you know, there's only one thing that's constant, and that is change. So you never know where the next big thing is going to come. Okay. Music, movies, and culture. So, soundtrack, I already mentioned this. That's a great way to go. This is a lot of time on that. Physical products are up. You can see, let's see what's important about that. I thought it was interesting that rock has the greatest percentage of physical products, followed by pop, and then R&B, and then country, and then another, whatever that is. And then, let's see, there we go. Barbie. Barbie again, because got the 11 Grammy nominations, 3 wins, including Song of the Year. How could one movie do all that? So, congratulations, Billie Eilish, for that. What was it made for? Really incredible. All right, so I'm just going to go back to know your audience. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but just go sit with them. Go listen to them. What do they eat? Where do they go? What restaurants do they like? What, you know, it doesn't have to be just all the music that they listen to, but get to know them. Because once you do, you're going to have this super fan group. And they're going to show up at every show. They're going to be your biggest fan. They're going to like every post. And then their friends are going to get in, and then so on and so on. So get to know them. And, you know, if you know that they like Chick-fil-A, team up with Chick-fil-A. Give away music in the drive-thru line. Write that down. Yeah. By the way, I love coming up with ideas. That's actually, I figure people that work with me cringe now when I say, wait, I have an idea. I'm like, oh no, what else is she going to do? So, did you know that Drake moved to town? How about that? So Drake gets special nod here. He's the top streamed artist. That's a lot of data. But he gets recognized for being one of the top streamed artists because it appeals to a wide range of people in their 20s and 30s. He has relatable themes, basically male and female listeners. He's just got this global appeal. And you know, when you think about some of the things that people are looking for, he's got a versatile sound that blends hip-hop, R&B, pop, and dancehall appeal. And it really just cuts across genres. He's been able to reach beyond the typical fan. And so he's one of the top streaming artists, and of course he picked Houston to move to because he's a smart man. This was the digital natives. Every one of you are a digital native, right? This is, you know, technology is part of who you are. So let's see, social media, I won't want to spend a lot of time on this, I don't think. But you guys know this. I mean, I'm not just going to here. So I mentioned the Southwest Airlines, so Shane Smith and the Saints, they did one of the performances there. What I want to highlight here is that, like the thing I just threw out with Chick-fil-A and giving your music away in line there. Like find unique ways to reach your audience, or I know I'm talking a lot to artists, but if you're a sound engineer and you want to go be a part of this big festival, how do you get their attention? Like, whose show is that? You know, there's a guy who produces one of the bigger festivals up north, and he's a big car guy. And he does a car show once every Sunday. Go to the car show. You know, give your card out, go tell them how great that car looks, and start up a conversation. And oh, and by the way, you know, I hear you've got this festival, I would like to help out. You know, so get creative. And this is, I think, pretty creative way to get your music out there. So top marketing tools for artists. So a lot of people complain about Spotify and all that because I don't get very much money, and there is a sad story to tell there. The other side of that, though, before I go on my main point, is that there's billions of dollars of unclaimed money that the artist didn't set up the account correctly in order to get it through Spotify. So make sure that just goes back to make sure you have a really smart team that can make sure you're set up correctly and getting all the money. But the way I see Spotify is it's an amazing marketing tool. It's an amazing way to get your music out there. So how can you use it to your advantage? Maybe you don't release the whole album that way. Maybe you put 3 songs on Spotify, but if you want the rest, you need to join me here on my website. And I'll give you access. And when you join, I'll give you this and that. You know, how can you get creative to really use these to your advantage? Sound charts, Reverb Nation, I use all this stuff. HubSpot is a CRM, so you're going to have fans. Sound engineers have fans, because you're going to want people to find you at the next festival. So this is your CRM, your customer relationship management tool, your database, you know, your email list. Show.co, I didn't know this one before, and I looked it up, and now I've forgotten what it is. Show.co, I think it's a promotion tool for your show, but go check it out. Tone Down, Amplify, BuzzStream, and Facebook bots. Well, I'm probably just went ahead of that. So building strong brand identity. All I want to say on this one is get really clear about your brand. Whether it's your resume you're working on, or it's your artist profile and brand, you are in charge. Don't let somebody tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. Which I will say is an advantage to Houston over someplace like Nashville. I've talked to a lot of artists who go there and they immediately tell them the formula, you need to come to this, you need to come to that. And there's an artist here in Texas, Patrice Pike, and she played Monkey Duck, which is a kind of a singer-songwriter, interesting venue here. And she said, you know, they all tried to change me. She was on some big voice-type show. She says, they all tried to put me through the machine and change me, and I stood strong, and I really admired that. So that's really what I want to say about brand. Spend a lot of time, think about it, reflect on it. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to portray? And who do I want to reach? And storytelling, again, this is so powerful to relate to people, you know, and the more you listen and get to know your audience, the more you're going to be able to tell stories that they understand. It's funny, so Taylor Swift and her songwriting, she's been telling stories a long, long time, right? And it's, I mean, maybe it's all about breakups, but she's related to a lot of people. Taylor Swift was the #1 example. Shocker. Ed Sheeran. So these are examples of great storytelling in their music. You know, Ed Sheeran often tells personal stories. I would also add, though, with him that he shows up on stage with a lot of interesting people. So he teams up with a lot of other artists, and I think that's an interesting way to reach more people. Adele, Beatles, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, all great storytellers through their marketing and through their music. I'm not gonna, so streaming revenue, so just talking about, the way you can make money. Obviously you can make money through streaming. This is a section I really wanted to just kind of skip through, but I don't want you to forget about all the ways that you can make money. So, streaming services, Spotify, concerts. A lot of people are making money right now through live music as well as merchandise. And earlier I talked about, I think in the Q&A, I was talking about creating moments in your show. So you're rocking out, and then you do a quiet one in the front of the stage. You drop all the sounds, all the other folks, the drummer leaves the stage, and it's just you and a guitar, you and the mic. You're creating a moment that the audience will remember. And then they are 90% more likely to go buy your merchandise when you create a moment like that. Because they felt like they were part of something, and they want to take a piece with them. So it turns into money. Let's see. Taylor Swift makes top of the list again. Drake is on the list again. I don't want to go into all that. There's a Billion Club on Spotify. Are you guys familiar with the Billion Club? So, I found this interesting graphic. Right there. There they all are. There's a bunch of them. It's amazing how many have made the billion. You can't really read it, but I'll highlight a few. It's a lot of streams. So Ed Sheeran is one of them. Again, good storytelling. Taylor Swift, good storytelling. Again, emotional connection with your audience. And then breakdown. I feel like this is a lot of it. Digital downloads, live performance and touring. So Jay-Z is one that tops the list of artists worth $2.5 billion with live performing. And he's one of the highest paid singers as well, with Rihanna and of course Taylor Swift. So how do they do it? I'd rather than reading slides or going through slides, because having been at Microsoft for many years, I'm not in love with PowerPoint, but it's a good way to get points across. I'd rather talk to you guys about this. How can I help you make money in the music business? Can we pause and talk about that for a minute? Because that's this whole section is about making money in the music business. So you're here for a reason to learn about it. How many people want to go full-time music? I'm going to pick on you. What do you want to do in the music business? The gentleman right here. Yeah, right there.
I would like to be a performer, producer, songwriter, engineer.
You want to play all the roles? Okay, so you're going to set up a company, I guess, to represent all those different things that you provide. Are you making money in music today?
Yes.
Fantastic. So on the live performance side?
I put my performances into my PRO just to track it.
Right, okay. Very good. So you've gotten some money from streaming? Fantastic. That's fantastic. Great job. So now you want to go on the road, or you want to?
Kind of want to. I would like to go on the road. I know I have to build my following, my fan base, and all that. But yes, ultimately that is the goal. Go on the road, tour, and.
Okay. So how can we help you? What's your next step?
Next step. I feel like Houston doesn't have the best. I won't say environment, but venues like live performances, more so for someone kind of my stature, maybe more so in the amateur or beginning stages. I go to the open mic nights, I do all that, but yeah, I think it could be better as far as that. I don't know. I feel like it needs to be some type of larger gathering around that.
Okay, so there's a couple things I want to mention resource-wise, and I'm glad I asked that question because we have a Houston Music Advisory Board here. His whole mission is to help you and everyone else make a career in Houston music, or do whatever you want to do with music, right? You might want to do it part-time. So go to Houston Music Advisory Board, go search that website, and go on there and find out the next meeting that we had. We had one on Sunday. There's going to be future ones. Go get involved and go meet people in the Houston Music Advisory Board. They are connected to venues, they're connected to promoters, you'll get a lot of connections and advice. And then on the website, there's a directory, which I think everybody in here should register for that directory. Make sure you're in there, because guess what? When Houston hosts the Super Bowl, when Houston has a big show, trade show, an oil and gas thing, they're going to go to that directory to find artists, sound engineers, all of that. Make sure you're in there. So that's linked there as well. So that's a great resource. Is there anybody else that I can help think through? Because I feel like a lot of these stats, I don't want to go into a lot of these. Sync licensing, YouTube. This looks, I was thinking that fast skip like we had earlier. Skip!
I could help you.
Yeah, maybe. I just want to go to the end because I think I get lost in these PowerPoint slides because I feel like I can be a resource to you if you ask me questions, and I can support you. I mentioned earlier that I am very passionate about keeping people in Houston so that you can do a music career here. I've been waving that flag for a while. Texas in particular is, people are chasing Texas for the talent that we have. Nashville is chasing Texas. Miranda Lambert just set up a label here in Texas. So you know when Miranda Lambert decides, I'm going to need Nashville, she's in Texas now. And a lot of the Nashville big writers are here. And it's hard for you to know that unless you meet someone like me, or you go to the Houston Music Advisory Board, or you go to the Texas Music Office. They have a great directory there as well. So I encourage you, you're here in Houston and the resources are pretty immense on what we have here. I don't want you to leave if you don't, unless you just really want to, and we will support you and welcome you here anytime you want to come back. But there's recording studios, there's open mics, there's producers, all kinds. Drake came to town. Why did Drake come to Houston? That's right. There you go. Yeah, so well, and a lot of people are returning. Yeah, when is Beyonce coming back? Yeah, when's she coming back? So Houston just has a lot going on. And we're building bridges to Nashville, LA. I bring in artists once a quarter to do a song camp. So if you want to see the inner workings of writing songs together, that's a great place to go. You can go to launchmusiclab.com and write with some of these great artists across genres. It's not a single genre, and they'll say a great song is a great song is a great song. You know, so you can sit down with them and be a part of a great song because you'll get credit on it. In fact, there's 2 songs that came out of our first song camp that we're pitching to an artist right now and we make it to radio. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. Can we go on to, are there any questions? Yeah.
This is a little bit of a broad question. I feel like there's so many ways for us as an artist or engineer, whatever you do, to make money. But it's almost like there's so much information out there. Sometimes a lot of us don't know necessarily where to start. Where do you advise, especially someone from, like, let's say, this artist?
Definitely go perform, because you're going to need a lot of people at open mics. Monkey Duck has a really good open mic night too. Monkey Duck, Monday nights. So you might try that. I mean, if you have tracks, it might not be the best place for you. Avant-Garden was one that I mentioned. Go do open mics and network. And then as far as resources for artists, I go back to the Houston Music Advisory Board because that's our job. I mean, we are a city-appointed entity that's whole role is to focus on building the music community here. We have listening sessions a couple times a year where you can show up and tell us, I need more of this. And then it goes on our list of things that we need to look into. Last year we tackled historic preservation. So we brought back the El Dorado Room as one of the venues. And now it's about music business. So we're going to be putting together a music business class, which would help you figure out how to get your work out there. And then find someone like me that you can team up with and build your team. Who knows something about marketing? Who can I talk to? Who can be my mentor? Who can I just come sit in the studio with you and make connections with festivals or wherever you want to get your work out there. It's a non-linear. Success is always not a straight path. So network and don't give up. If I was in your seat, what would I do next? I really would have to go back to something I said earlier in an earlier session. Who are the 5 people I need to know right now to get to where I want to go? That's the question you can ask me, you can ask Barry Coffin, you can ask Dr. Williams. Who are the 5 people I need to know to get me to that next level? I can introduce you to at least 3 of those 5 if you come to the Houston Music Advisory Board next meeting. I mean, a lot of good ones show up there. So I think it's going to be relationships and how you can connect. And then, get creative. How can I host something online where I can build a community and tell the world about me? Maybe I do a Sunday TikTok where, hey, I'm here in Houston and I'm, maybe I do a podcast. Like, get creative and start getting your voice out there and get it heard. Would you do that? Yeah. I mean, that doesn't cost anything. I'm kind of amazed when I put it on TikTok and how many people react to it. Because people are, they're watching for new content. So what can you do that's fresh? Where do you go that's kind of unique? Maybe there's a venue you love that nobody knows about. It's always an empty room and you're always surprised. Maybe you go there and help them out and get your voice heard. There are a couple empty rooms here that I'm always surprised. Why is this place not packed? So maybe you could team up with them and do a podcast from there. How about you? What do you do in the music industry?
I am creating my studio.
Fantastic. Is this what you've always been working on, or?
No, I'm retired. I had a illustrious career in the technology.
Fantastic.
So now I'm just learning about how do I do this? How do I, that's part of why I'm here, to learn more about the digital technology.
Right. Yeah, so I've worked at HP for a little while also. That's how I found my way to Microsoft and so on. But yeah, so technology, just,
I don't think you can pay me enough to work with Microsoft.
oh my goodness. That's why you and I are here.
It's so freaking huge.
Yeah, it is big. I love my time there, but I love that pivot. So now you're creating something special. We need more studios here. So, and the other thing that we're doing is we're trying to attract more talent, more Drakes, more producers, more money. I mean, this town has money. And if you can sell them on your vision, so, I'll use myself as an example. I want to have more places to put artists on stages. So there's a man in Belleville who owns 2 buildings, and word has it he was roommates with Lala Lovett or something. He loves music, but he's an oil and gas guy, a lot of money. I know one of his business partners, and I was introduced to him. So I pitched the idea, why don't I help you create a whole music venue with your empty buildings? And we've been doing this dance for a couple years. Some things don't happen overnight. But you make those connections and you have a clear vision. I've been working on them for a couple years, so hopefully one day I'll be announcing that we've got a really nice little music venue in Belleville, Texas. So find out who has the resource, who can support you, and who can help you get there. So.
One of the very that I just acquired back in grant the snow weaver field is very popular. There are no very few in
I was really excited when I got the tour and saw those pianos here, actually. Yeah, I did. One of my favorite things in college, just a little aside, is to lock myself in one of those practice rooms and play piano. I was probably in there for hours.
Well, the funny part is I never learned how to play a piano, so
But that sound.
oh yes, I love the sound and it's a great competition like I play on that.
That's fantastic. So that's great advice. Yeah, it will stand out. The studio I work with does not have one. So yeah. So let's stay in touch. Yeah, we need more places where we can record here. I'm trying to attract producers out of Nashville. We need more places like that where they'll come and work with some of the artists here, and land here. Anybody else has questions? How about you? I'm gonna pick on you. Yes, you. I know you're like, oh no, I was on the front row and she's taking on me. Sorry, but I feel like this is going to be more about you than we go through these slides. So tell me how I can help you.
Okay, so my biggest dream is actually someday I want to play my songs in space.
Wow.
So I want to that's my ultimate goal, but I certainly want to branch out and build myself as a band. I started off as a Twitch streamer, so I think music online. But now I'm trying to branch out and do more live performances. With what I have right now, what do you think is the best?
Oh, you're in Houston. NASA. Oh my. So I did work at NASA. I didn't put that brand up there. I'm old enough now. I think I've worked for so many entities. NASA is very interested in attracting young talent. What better way to do that than through music?
So we have one of my former NISA presidents, Daniel. He now works for NASA.
Really?
And we actually saw each other this past week. He's the audio engineer for NASA. He's responsible for all recording of astronauts while they're in space and providing transmission both ways.
Boom.
So that's-
Mic drop.
Yes.
I knew there was a reason I stopped at the slides. I was getting bored with my slides too. I'm like, oh man, another slide. This is what matters. That connection right there. Look at that. That is fantastic. And as a marketer, I'm thinking, wow, you could do Virgin Galactic. You could do, like create the soundtrack for space. I just love this. Good luck with that. That's fantastic. How about anybody? How about someone in the back? Anybody in the back I can pick on? How can I help you? What's your next big goal? Other than graduate? Yeah, you right there.
My music goal would probably be to be a successful producer and engineer. That's pretty much it.
What kind of music? Or any?
Pretty much, yeah.
Are you volunteering or interning anywhere right now?
Not as of right now.
Okay.
Plans over the summer.
Oh, perfect. All right. So locally here in Houston?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you picked him out yet?
No, not right now.
Okay. All right. So that'll be a good next step. And then, do you have a vision of who you want to work with? Do you have someone you look up to and you go, man, if I could do that, that would be incredible.
I don't know, to be honest. That's a really hard question because there's so many.
What made you want to do it in the first place? What was that spark?
During COVID, I kind of just started because I've always liked music, but if you don't know how it's made, it just seems so impossible. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
You really just need a laptop.
okay, so you thought, oh, it's accessible, I can do this, and I've got free time, so I'm gonna learn. All right, that's really smart. Yeah, so go see who you admire out there. For me, I admire Miranda Lambert and her producer that went platinum. So it turns out he's from Houston. So I met him. And unfortunately, he had just parted ways with Miranda Lambert at the time. But he's got a soft spot here. He's been a judge for many of my songwriter competitions. And so I've got that dialogue there if you ever, want to talk to a producer in Nashville. I keep thinking he's going to set up shop here in Houston because he's from here. His sister's here. You should come here. So good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Who else going to pick on? Do you?
For me?
Yeah.
Shit, mine's self-motivation. I'm going through a lot of stuff right now with, because I was a blue-collar worker like my whole life. So I played music when I was like 16, 17. When I became a family man, I kind of jumped straight into taking care of the kids, sole provider, my wife. So then I got rid of the job. So I've been dealing with that. So jumping back into music just about 2.5 years now. I just got to put shit together, man.
Can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
I like stories. So,
Surprise,
surprise, surprise, I like stories. So I did a songwriting competition. So this is actually connected back to Frank Liddell, who I was just talking about. Miranda Lambert's original producer on Gunpowder Lead. So I was in his office, or whatever. I brought an artist with me. He had won my songwriter competition. She was playing her song. I loved it. But his boots, we were all really fascinated. They were threadbare, it looked like Grandpa's boots. I don't know. So of course I'm thinking that's a great song. What would that sound like? What would be a good? What better inspiration? And I'm trying to sneak a picture of his boots, while I'm in there. And it's a very small room. Nashville, it's glamorous, but behind the scenes, it's not glamorous. It's usually. But anyway, that inspired me, and I had an idea. What if I did a songwriter competition about boots? So I did a songwriter competition about boots, and this guy, who, entered, I hadn't heard of him before, a guy from Texas. He won. His name is Brian Martin. You know who Brian Martin is? He's like one of the top selling artists in the U.S. right now. But he's got your story. He's got your background. He worked in the oil and gas field. What do you call that when you're working on one of the rigs?
I worked for the railroad.
Yes.
So, because you had said Belleville will track that I told you for being a 7 months. My dad was a UPS man in Belleville for 20 years. So, if people in Belleville know my dad.
That's
I'm
good.
pretty sure that guy, as you know, if you mention Scott Simmons, he probably knows who he is.
Scott Simmons.
Sammons. Yes, he probably knows who he is. My dad was out there for 20 years. When he passed away at his celebration of life, everybody would know him.
That's fantastic. I love that town, Belleville. I was in
I want to buy a house out there. It's actually really nice out there.
Yeah, it's not as affordable as it once was.
No,
I'm hoping I can do music and get that going. But, do you want to write? Is that what you want to
I
do?
have a lot of stuff, and then what I'll do is I'll get to a point, and I get distracted by life. I got stuff I got to do. Well, with my wife, we have food roles. I used to do Soul Breadwinner. Now she's a Soul Breadwinner, and I'm at home. So being a mom, shit, I don't know how y'all do it, but so those.
Let's celebrate that as National Women's History Month.
Much respect. Now my kids are older, so they can take, but there's still so much stuff you got to do around the house that you got to take care of. And I want to make sure.
Tell me.
If she has an office job, and office jobs are stressful, so I make sure I take care of her. So I get to go in, and there's a certain time I cut off, so I can make sure I have everything ready for her. And then I tell myself, man, that's badass. And it's like 2 weeks ago. I've not done anything because I get distracted with other things. That's my problem. I have a lot of, to me, it's actually other people that have heard it say it sounds really good. It's never finished.
Well, schedule time. I know, I wanted to talk, I'm writing a book. It's been 5 years.
I want to do that.
I do have one book out. This is book 2. Are you able to bring up, Dr. Williams, are you able to bring up the web up here? Can you bring up Brian Martin? I just want you to see who I'm talking about. This guy's legit. And when I realized he won my songwriting competition and immediately got signed afterwards, gave me a great testimonial. Like I need to do another booth song competition. I'm thinking maybe that'll be a cool album that I can turn into Houston Live Volume 2. In Austin, there's a, what is it, ACL Live, but then they put out albums each year with artist compilation. I would love to do that here and feature local Houston artists. I have a lot of dreams. Maybe you guys can help me realize some of those. Yeah, that was my QR code. If you want to stay in touch with me, please just let me know. I've got one of those fancy cards you can just tap on your phone. And you'll have my contact info. But I want you to see Brian Martin. So again, I didn't know who this guy was. He came out of the oil field, or the rig, and just started writing songs and entered my competition, which would be my other advice. Just go do. Just go enter, you know. 27 million views. Yeah. So this is I hope you become a fan after this. I really like the guy, super nice guy. And you know, telling his story, you know, from the rig, from his perspective. And it resonated with people. And he signed a national, but that's what I'm working on a future label here. We need more of that here in Texas. He's country. He's kind of like that fusion, you know. I don't know. No.
What songs would
You just pick one. I don't know. Maybe with the
most recent one? Maybe?
yeah, maybe We Ride.
We Ride.
We Ride. Yeah. I love music.
I got the flexibility to code
I gotta do that
and
first.
experiment in my
Microsoft knew I was talking about. So, thank you so much for letting me spend some time with you guys. I'm so inspired by what you're all trying to do. Artists, sound engineers, like you're starting out, and I promise you, you are in one of the best places. I mean, internationally, they're looking at us. Houston is building up the community here. If you don't know where it is, find your 5 people. And keep asking, like, who the 5 people that you need to know. And you eventually find the right people to help you get there. Thank you.
Saving the good stuff for last.